good music, you can move on. Relax, stress free, leave your cares at home. Leave your cares at home. Get your two-step, get your groove on. This is feel good music, you can move on. Relax, stress free, leave your cares at home. Leave your cares at home.
Yep. We are here Tuesday. It is Tuesday night all across the land, and we want to thank you guys for hanging out with us on a Tuesday night. It is the Keto Cookout. It's your man, Russell Sick Buckeye, along with my favorite person in the world to grill, chill, or kill with. It's Nurse Laura Russell in the building. Russell Brands. Give you your own applause. I have not seen you for a while, talked to you for a while. I meant to call you a couple times to say hey, but I didn't. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry.
That's okay.
One thing leads to another. I forget about things, but as always, it's so good to see you. I guess we'll get into anything interesting, new, exciting since the last time you were on last year.
Let's see. Boy, been really busy as a nurse because everybody's got that crud that's going around everywhere.
Yeah. My dad called me and said he had COVID last week. So
wow.
I didn't even know COVID was still a thing. Okay. Listen, what do I know? But he tested for
a little bitty thing.
Yeah.
So. But there is some kind of a virus. Some of them are saying norovirus, different things like that. But I helped out at the hospital start IVs a couple Sundays ago because they were just slammed. But it was ironic. Most of the time when you see these upper respiratory type infections, you usually see like 60 plus age going, in and having to be shipped out. And it wasn't. It was like 25, 35, 45-year-olds just shipping them out, getting them on helicopters. And most of them, the one thing they had in common is they vape. They don't smoke cigarettes, they vape.
Vaping.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it was very interesting to see that.
What do you think that's about? Tell me, I know you well enough to know you've got a theory, and it's probably right because you know everything.
Well, I think I don't have winning lottery numbers yet. So once we know that, then that'd be great. But
that's
I
not
think
medical.
the chemicals, I think the chemicals that they use so that you have the smoke from that and the scents, it's just like everything else. They're allowed to throw the kitchen sink and whatever else they want to into the products. Well, they're going to do the same thing to those because it's not regulated and it's still not any kind of regulations. So they literally can throw anything in there as long as they put a warning on the side of it. That's consumer beware and, it's addictive. But I do think just looking at like the x-rays, it almost looked like little crystals in their airways that you could see down through there. Cause it's kind of like if you see a radiator that's cut open, you got those tubules, that's how the lungs are kind of set up. And it just looked like crystals laying in there, all the entire length. And then that causes inflammation, and then it would hold all this fluid in. And then, they got this norovirus, and there really wasn't anything all they could do was basically hydrate, maybe do some nebulizers, but it was like, you gotta kick this on your own. Of course, all of them, I was like,
of course.
Get you some tinctures, but
Oh, damn. Oh, there we go with here we go with the, it's like, all the heterosexual men out there, just disregard everything. Yes, no self-respecting heterosexual man would let anybody put any tincture, anywhere near him. Speaking of normal heterosexual men, we got my man Rick is in the building. Good to see you, brother. Tucker Prime Rib is there. Good to see you, man. That was the wrong one. That's it. We got to see what we have here. Good to see you, Paul. Paul is McGorgan is with us. Good to see you, brother. Appreciate you being here. Jeff. Hey. I'm so glad you're here. Good to see you, Marilda. Our girl Marilda is with us here, and we hang out and talk about a bunch of nothing today. Uh, let's see if we make sure I didn't miss anybody. Yeah, no. Now, is any link to any of that stuff, and maybe being diabetic or anything like that? Just wonder. That always. It seems like I heard somewhere that COVID, particularly because there was really rough on people with diabetes.
Most of the time
Heard
when
about
I
that.
was working the COVID unit, yes, the diabetics did bad, but generally everybody who was diabetic also was on a statin, so their cholesterol was really
Right,
low and their vitamin D was low, so their
right.
immune system wasn't as strong. So really, we got to the point where we were testing labs in the ER, sending them to the unit, and we would start doing their lipid panels because we wanted to see where their lipids were. And inevitably, and it's not that we were taking bets, but you don't understand, but nurse brains were weird. But we'd be like,
Oh, I know.
even though this guy's 400 pounds and he smoked, he's got high cholesterol, high LDL, low triglycerides. He's going to do okay and his
Right.
vitamin D level's good. This one, who's a jogger runner, never done nothing but's taking statins and has no cholesterol, no vitamin D, they ain't coming off the vent. And
Yeah,
that's exactly what we saw. But yes, anytime
yeah,
you're diabetic, you're in a bad metabolic state. So you're
yeah,
going to be, yeah, compromised, unfortunately.
yeah. Because I mean, I guess there is a link. I mean, I get I'm just thinking this through, and that's very dangerous for everyone involved. Hide your kids, hide your
Mhm.
wife. When I start get to thinking, but it seems like your metabolic state and your immune system, are linked in some type of way.
Especially with the
Um,
gut. About 75% of your immune system starts in the gut and
Right.
having the proper bacteria. Yeah. And so that's another reason that, I mean, diabetics just have it coming at different directions, but diabetics have a condition that they can get that's called gastroparesis. And it's
Yeah.
where it's a paralysis of their stomach. So it's similar to what some people, if they do that high dose GLP-1s, kind of
Yeah.
does that same thing. So if that happens and you're not processing the foods and breaking down the minerals and the vitamins to where they need to go, well, then everything else is going to be off. So your immune system can't work. Your gut bacteria gets messed up. Half of those people are taking omeprazole or something for
Yeah.
GERD, for acid reflux, and that's not really what they need, but it sells a pill. So
Yeah.
unfortunately.
That's- Yes, I was just talking to somebody about that earlier today. Just the medical establishment and just a pill for every ill. It's always about what kind of
Mhm.
medication they can get you on and keep you on. That
Forever.
has a lot of one. Target Primer says, yes, I used to have that gastroparesis. Now, that's an interesting question because I thought, and again, just thinking thing, man, it doesn't usually work out well for me, family. But I thought that gastroparesis was a permanent condition once you had it. But it
Mm,
sounds like you can clearly you can
sometimes.
get rid of it, or it's
It
does
it
it
dep
have
it
different levels of severity, or
well, it no, like, if it's paralyzed, it's paralyzed. People like, this is just my opinion of working with people who have taken high doses of the GLP-1s. As long I even have some people I work with that have been off of those for a year, and they still have that, and I have one that's gonna have to go have surgery and actually have that bypass done because it's dead, and it's
Hmm,
just, it's gonna turn necrotic. Um, but if you can heal your body through, a ketogenic lifestyle, your body's going to heal no matter where the areas are.
right,
I
right,
never say it's ever too late. As Dr. Barry always says, if you can fog a mirror, it's never too late to do
yeah.
something, try. But yeah, I've seen people turn it around, but boy, it's a
Now,
pretty
is it a
serious
fixed
thing.
it's a fixed condition, it doesn't come and go or things of that nature, like, if you're taking the drug and you get it, then you stop taking the drug, it goes away, or does it take more
Some people
time, or
some people, if they were doing those GLP-1 agonists and stayed on like the very low dose, um, and some people are microdosing and then just building themselves up a little bit to get the desired effects without getting gastroparesis. And I've seen a couple of them talk about they get it and they start noticing the gut issue and then they back off. And I think the sooner they do that, that helps with some of those people. But just for that reason alone, I would not ever, I wouldn't touch one. But that's just me. I know other people do, which is okay.
Yes, yes. Cousin Terry's in the building. Cousin Terry has a welcome. We have a question that says, "Does a statin make you more prone to illness?" First and foremost, let me say we are not
Absolutely.
giving medical advice here.
Mhm.
We are not doctors, although Laura is a nurse. We are giving you our opinions, and we're giving you information that we have learned, as well as telling you the stories of ourselves and other folks that we know. So
Yeah. And
now that,
actually,
now that we have
um,
fulfilled the legal portion of this segment,
yeah.
go ahead, Laura.
I did a like a dual cast with the carnivore hunters. It's two brothers, and
Mhm.
it was middle of the year last year, and it was cholesterol related. And we cited all the different studies. So if somebody wants to go look at my, at Healthy Carnivore and dig through the playlist, it's in there. Or they could go to Carnivore Brothers and find it. And I think it just shows a picture um, of somebody with a bunch of pills and a lot of pills around them. So anything that blocks cholesterol is going to affect your immune system. And that's scientific proven because that's how vitamin D works. It is actually vitamin D is a hormone. And if you don't have sustainable good levels of that, your immune system is going to take a hit. But also, if you don't have enough cholesterol, the LDL is kind of the carrier molecule that the immune system rides on to get to the areas it needs to get to. So if you don't have enough of that, because that's what statins lower, part of that is the LDL and the HDL, um, then how does your immune system and your immune cells, your killer T cells and B cells, how do they get to those places, the macrophages? How do they get to the areas to help get the immune system kicked in? So my personal opinion, and I have said this probably 204,000 times, is I wouldn't give a cholesterol pill to my ex-husband.
Yes, but she would give him COVID if she had it.
Well,
So
maybe.
yes, I listen. I will say this. Um, Dr. Barry, I've heard Dr. Barry say this. I'm repeating what Dr. Ken Barry has said, and I'm sure you know who he is, Terry, and you probably heard him too. But if you have statins and are taking statins, throw them in the trash. That is Dr. Kendi Berry. I've seen him say that on the podcast. You don't need to wean off of it. You
Nope,
know,
you
throw
can
it in the
stop it.
trash right now. You don't need
Yeah.
to wean off of it. You don't need
Yep.
to take it. Throw it in the trash. So there you go. That is I don't do impressions. That's my impression of
You're a singer.
Dr.
You're a
Yeah,
singer.
that's yeah, exactly. Throw it in the trash right now. Nisha, I'm on the internet. Yeah, so that's my, that's my impression of Dr. Ken D. Berry. The D stands for dang it. So anyway, but also I hope I'm getting the name right. I think it's Dr. David Diamond. Who is I should Google this before I put it all out on the internets. Let me see if I'm just gonna check. Has done some videos on this, and I saw a couple of videos with him and Dr. Berry. Hold on a second. And I will just try to.
Yeah. And Dr. Avadia, he's a cardiologist, you can go to
Yes,
his.
yes.
Yeah, and he's done a ton about that.
Yes, I think Dr. David Diamond, cholesterol, if you put that into Google, I think it'll come up. But in any event, he talks about many other things about statins, dementia symptoms, liver problems, raising your blood sugar and your insulin levels. I mean, there are just so many, potential negative things with statins. And also his statistics in terms of it doesn't help you hardly at all. It's like they tell you
Re
it gives you a 60%, reduction in potential heart attacks and strokes, but
Not true.
it's like 1/2 of 1% by his statistics. Again, this is
Yeah.
information that Dr. Diamond and
Mhm.
also other doctors have given, as well as the
Yep.
fact that we believe as ketogenic people that cholesterol has nothing to do with heart attack and stroke or your increased chances. If you look up the leading indicators of heart attack and stroke, high cholesterol is not even in the top 10. So,
Nope.
the number one thing that people who don't advocate, meat-based ketogenic diets, the number one thing they all say, whether it's doctors, whether is, oh, your cholesterol is going to go through the roof. Which of
So,
course is true. I tell people all the time, I'm trying to get mine to 1,000. I'm doing everything I can to get it to 1,000.
it's
But if you can, once you get past that cholesterol argument, and you're not afraid of that, there's nothing else really that they have to
mm-mm.
say, against, our way of
Right.
our diets and that. So,
Yeah.
I would encourage you to check out Dr. Diamond. There's other doctors as well. Dr. Berry's done some videos on cholesterol as well as statins, and get
Yep.
all of the data on all the potential negative effects of
Well, the
these.
sad thing is too, is like when I worked with the carnivore hunters and the amount of studies that were out that proved absolutely the opposite, even though one of those studies was the study that Ansel Keys used to push that
Yeah,
agenda through.
yeah,
It
it
was
was.
because they only gave this much of it, they didn't give the whole study. And
Yeah.
and so
Well, there was some big money
when
interests, in there involved in
yes.
with Dr. Keys, and there was a guy out of England, I can't think of his name right now, Judkins maybe, or, uh, John something, I can't remember, but he refuted that study, and it was a big battle back and forth, but the big money interests ended up winning in the end.
Yeah, they
So
about
yeah,
took him out.
it's quite a story. Charger Rompar says, "So you are telling me that having high cholesterol is why I never get seriously sick?" No, sir, that is
I'm
not what we're
sure
telling
it
you.
helps.
The
I
reason
do
why
think it
you
helps.
never get seriously sick is because you have ingested every microbe and bacteria
Iguana.
known to mankind, and nothing can get you anymore. You've seen it all,
Yeah.
you've done it all, you've beat it all. You, my man,
He's
are a
super.
superhero from the planet Carnivore.
The
Carnivorious.
other thing the other
Carnivorious
thing
Matt.
to that I've noticed as being a nurse for this many years is that when I worked in the Alzheimer's dementia unit years ago, and it was a closed unit, I would never find one of them that hadn't been on a statin. They'd been on 2 drugs, a statin and an acid reducing medication.
Yeah.
So, the way those acid reducing medicines work is they block something called acetylcholine, which
Mhm.
in the stomach, okay, that's fine if that's what you want to do, although that's usually not the trouble. But unfortunately, both of those cross the blood brain barrier and they block acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter, which then you're misfiring. And then I think hopefully someday if we can ever have somebody do some honest and have some integrity studies of that, I think they will see that that is a pretty major lead because it's just hard to see like probably 2,000 people over that many years that all have Alzheimer's, dementia, or
Yeah.
ALS, or Parkinson's, or MS, and they all take those 2 pills,
Yeah, well,
you know?
that's what David Diamond was talking about in one of the, webinars that I saw him on. He said that they actually did a test of, it wasn't a big test. I think it was only 50
Yes,
people or 40
I
people, I think,
remember that.
with dementia
Yep,
symptoms, and they were all on the statins, and then they got off the statins, and all
yep,
their dementia symptoms and Alzheimer's symptoms went
they
away.
improved.
It wasn't a very big
Yep,
study, but for somebody like him and for people like us, we don't need a big study. We believed it in the first place. So,
that's right.
um,
Yeah, yeah.
that. Target Prime Rib says, I still have to take omeprazole, but only once a week now. But I used to throw up every night. It is why I started to intermittent fast to give my digestion a break. Well, now you only have to throw up once a week when you watch this show. But That's anyway. That's just a joke. But the question is, why do you have you? Are you trying to wean yourself off of it, or is that something you're actively doing, and you're down to once a week because you can't go any further yet, or is it once a week because your doctor's telling you? I'm just kind of interested
Yeah.
to know.
And
Uh,
most of the time,
the
it's
kind of
not that we
progress.
have too much acid. So
Yeah.
that's what they've always said is that you're having this acid reflux because you have too much. Some of it can be you have a hiatal hernia, you may not even know it, and that just allows the stomach to push up into the chest. Okay. The other
Yeah.
thing is with that is when food sits still, and especially if somebody who's kind of prone to getting gastroparesis, that food sits in your stomach and just putrefies. Basically, it gets dense, so it goes to the bottom of the stomach. The stomach acids sit up on top, and then of course that's easy, especially if you go lay down. That's what they're going to do. But usually it's that you don't have enough. So most people that I have worked with is we start weaning them and getting them to doing like apple cider vinegar with the mother, like a shot glass full and like 4 ounces of water if they can't do it straight. And just trying to transition off of that because I mean, that's another drug I wouldn't give my ex-husband. That's probably the two that I wouldn't. He could do some other stuff, but those two I wouldn't.
Charger Mopar says, I might be the only 56-year-old who has never been on any prescription. Well,
Pretty good.
I guess, or you're saying chronic, maybe on any chronic medication. I'm sure you had a prescription for something. Well, I'm not 56 yet. I'll be 56 later this year, but I have never taken any drug other than penicillin in my entire life. And if I ever see that girl again, I'm gonna be have a few words to say to
I was
her.
just going to ask you, what'd you have to take that for, Russ?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jiffy says, I'm so grateful I turned down GLP-1 3 years ago. No thanks. I'll eat my meat and fat. Yeah,
And
I
actually,
was.
that
Go ahead.
helps. Well,
Yeah, I didn't want to do that
that
either.
instigates GLP-1 anyway, having the increased protein and fat, because of how full it makes you, it makes you kick in your own GLP-1. We produce that already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I totally understand, Jeffy. I was the same way. I did not want to take drugs. I did not want to have surgeries. I certainly thought about all of it, considered all of it, and I gave this way of living a chance, literally as a last ditch effort. And I'm really glad that I did because it certainly has changed my life. And I wanted to do it that way. I didn't want to do it the other way. So hats off to you. And look to the comments here. With all the injuries I've had, I never got infected. Yes, he just takes a little bit of. He makes
Iguana
a
blood.
concoction, man. He makes his duck bill stew and throws a
Yeah.
little lard in it, man, and just just slathers it on there. It's like a it's like a carnivore. Uh, what's that stuff they put in the cuts and stuff there? Analgesic or no, antiseptic? I don't know. Oh, I'm getting a headache. All this learning and stuff today. It's like,
Oh, quit it.
giving me
It's good for you.
Cat Diamond is here. Hey. Oh, my doctor keeps trying to force a statin on me. No way. My dad's going through that too. It's a funny thing. My dad has a doctor that she's nice about it. She's not nasty or anything, but she's always trying to get him to take a statin. She's gone from I can't remember what he said. I think from 50 milligrams down to 10. So it's like she wanted him to take a 50. He's like, I'm not taking it. Then she just every month, every time he goes in, she backs it down a little bit. He's like, okay, what about
Mhm.
10 milligrams? 10. It's like it's a game show or something. It's like, is that your final offer? Is that your final
Exactly.
10 milligrams?
Crazy. They just need
So
to
he's
get that checked off that they've got you
yeah,
prescribed for their kickbacks, and it doesn't matter what the dose is.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, so good for him and good for you, for not, target prime rib for saying no. And you could always do what I did when my doctor wanted me to do it when I was either 49 or 50. And I said, "You prescribe it. I'll go pick it up from the pharmacy and I'll bring it back and you take it." And I just looked at her and I said, "Because you're telling me God put a liver in my body that produces up to
Yes,
85% of the cholesterol on accident?
that's
Sorry,
right.
I don't believe
I
that."
That's exactly what I tell my dad. I said, "Dad, your liver is not trying to poison you. I promise you.
Mhm.
And my liver might be trying to
Exactly.
poison me. I can't say I blame it, but your liver is definitely not like trying to poison you. You've been
Yeah,
very good to your liver through the years.
yeah,
So it's again, it's just and I told him the same thing I tell, everybody that I talk to that has a doctor that's, that way. I say, hey, ask them if they're open to hearing a different point of view and getting some different information. If they are, here's a link to some videos. And
yeah.
some doctors, there are doctors out there who are open. If I said, just be nice. I mean, don't be nasty. Just say, hey, I don't want to
Right.
take it. Are you interested in
Yeah.
knowing why I don't want to take it? If I send you a video, link to a video that I
Mhm.
watched, are you
Or
open
hand
to
them a
that?
study.
Yeah.
I did that with my doctor.
Yeah.
I printed off the juniper study. I printed off the entire 22 country study that was done by Ansel Keys and them. And I gave them both to her. And let me tell you, I mean, I only see her once a year because it's not her job to keep me well. It's only if I have to go. And she doesn't even offer them anymore. She might put it in the computer that she's offered it because they have to do their standard of care, but I haven't heard it come out of her mouth for a long time.
Well, I got you. We got a special guest in the building. It's our man.
Hey,
It's our man Tom Pruitt. Jersey Tom, we call him. Jersey Tom is in the
Mhm.
building. Target
Jersey
Prime
Tom,
Rib. How we
yeah.
doing, brother?
I'm doing
Everything all
okay.
right?
Just figured I'd say hello. Hi, Laura.
Everything all right?
Hello.
What was that?
Mhm.
I'm
I
okay,
was
yes.
that, that's a song. That's a song too. I'm all right. Don't need to worry about me. But anyway, uh, speaking of all right, don't worry about me. Desert Bob is out there somewhere wandering through the desert. I see a horns
Mhm.
down. That's right. That's my Buckeye brother right there. Our Buckeyes are going to the national championship game after beating the Texas Longhorns in epic fashion. Shout out to my main man, Bob. But anyway, back to
Oh,
Tom.
Bob.
What's going on in New Jersey tonight, brother?
Not much, not much. Just figured I'd say hello and see how you
Yeah,
guys were
appreciate
doing.
that.
Yeah,
We
right
love it.
now I'm in the
Love it.
middle of 3-day fast, so I'm like 2 days.
Oh,
Oh, good.
So
yes, I
looking
love
forward
that, man. I
to it.
love that. I love that. Speaking of fasting, I got to do a wellness check on my brother Brett Miner, who's your carnivore. I'm going to do that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to write it down so I don't forget. I have not seen him or heard from him. He is a fasting sort of guy, and
Okay.
I got to check on my man there, see what he's up to. But that's awesome, man. Yeah, I have not quite gotten to the place where I can intentionally starve myself. I'm not there yet. But actually, I did start a fasting program, a night fasting program. Some people
While you're
call it
sleeping?
yes, call it
Yeah.
sleep. But yes, I refuse to eat. I will not eat anything when I'm sleeping. Will not do it. I'm very strict about it.
Good for you.
Uh, yes, but no, but I love it. Listen, I love everything. I'm all about whatever helps you, whatever benefits you, man. I know a lot of people that do that. I have had times when I haven't eaten for 18 or hours or
Yep.
so, just unintentionally, not intentionally. I just wasn't hungry.
Right.
So there's that. But what prompted this? Is it something new or something you
No,
do
I fasted
regularly?
before.
Or
The
okay.
reason why this one though is my blood sugar, like for the past few days, has been like over 200. So I just wanted to get my
Oh,
blood
Mm.
sugar down.
yeah.
So it's worked. Like my last blood check was about 149. So tomorrow is my last. Is I have it 72 hours, so I'm scheduled to be done at 3 p.m. tomorrow.
Hmm.
I may or may not go further. I don't know because I don't feel
Any
any
How long
idea
have
of
you
what?
been
Okay.
keto or carnivore?
Mostly carnivore now. I was keto,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
And how
now I'm.
Yeah,
long
we had
have
Time a
you done
couple
that?
weeks ago. Yeah, he said
I
90
was
days.
carnivore on and off. For several months, for a few months at least. But when my A1C was a little higher for during the holidays, I decided to go beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. So I'm doing that for the next 90 days. From like one
And
A1C.
have you ever heard about berberine?
I have, yeah.
Okay, because that really a lot of the diabetics, not saying you're diabetic, but a lot of the people I work with that are diabetic, they have kind of switched to adding in that berberine, and they take it with meals like you would almost like metformin.
Right.
And they're seeing that really come down. But as your triglycerides come down, as you get higher fat in the diet, you will see that kind of shift too. But that's one thing that people don't realize is we get so consumed on the protein that we're only doing about 40 or 50% fat. And
Okay.
I have found that the sweet spot for a lot of people is actually 80% fat to 20% protein. And that really gets those triglycerides dropped. And once you do that, you drop your hemoglobin A1C. And I mean, your fasting will come down with that. So but
Right.
fasting's
If
wonderful.
you're
I
eating
love it.
80%, if you're eating 80% fat in your diet, that's not the only thing you're going to drop. I can tell you that right now.
That's
You're going to
not
drop.
true. I don't have that
Yes,
issue.
Yeah.
okay.
Normally, I do fast a little bit more. I'm sorry, Russell.
Oh no! Go ahead. Hey, listen. People would much
He's
rather
gonna say
hear.
I'm
Normally, my
scared.
eating window is like between 10 a.m. to like 2 p.m. So that's my
Right.
eating window.
Yep.
So I do fast every day, like the intermittent fasting. It's just right now I'm just doing an
Right.
elongated fast.
Yeah.
Right.
If
The other
I'm
thing
telling you,
too is like switching up your days. Like I used to do like OMAD. I did it for like a year and a half straight. And it was like I'm only eating at this time. And I found that it's almost like it kind of did the opposite. I wanted what I wanted it to. I had less energy. I was tired, having more trouble getting through. And then I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just listen to my body. So if I get up and I do my sprints or lift weights, and my body says I'm hungry, it's like, okay, then that's going to be my meal. I'll break my fast and do that, and I may do a small something at like lunchtime, and then I won't eat again till the next day, or I may not eat till noon one
Right.
day. And and so just changing it up, because our bodies are super super smart, and they're like, we know what you're doing. And they don't want to starve to death, so they'll try to conserve everything. So
Yeah,
you'll
you
see
need to
that
learn to
too.
listen to your body, basically. And yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
let me
It's
tell
a
you
long
something,
road,
ladies. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. I need to make this very clear and plain to all the folks who listen to this broadcast and are considering eating 80% of their diet in fat. If you would like to turn yourself into a two-legged human nuclear reactor, that is what I would prescribe for you to do, is to eat 80% of your diet in fat. You will also spend 80% of your time in the bathroom. Okay?
Not true.
Just telling you
Not
right
true.
now.
You
can
have
listen
to work
Laura if you
yourself
want
up.
to. You can listen to Laura if you want to. Trust me when I tell you, I know her very well. She is not normal. Okay? I can
That's true. That's true.
Yes, she can't
That is
deny
true.
that. So if you base your life on what Laura's doing, yes, I'm just telling you, be prepared for explosions. That's all I have to say about that.
You just have to work yourself up.
It's not going to kill you, but it's not going to make you stronger. Say, what
If you
doesn't
just
kill
go
you makes you stronger.
slow and increase your fat, you will do good, especially if you still have a gallbladder, But even if you don't, there's ox bile salts and stuff like that you can do. But I didn't start out doing
You didn't say all
80%
that a
fat.
minute ago. You just said, "Oh, the sweet spot is 80% fat." Family, if you go out there and get a 16-ounce steak and you make 80% of it fat and the 20%, yes, you may not make it home. You better make it at home. I will tell you that. Don't go out and eat it. You might not make it to the car. I'm just telling you. Don't ask me how I know. This is a warning. That's all I'm
You got to be
saying.
fat adapted, and not everybody is fat adapted because even like it's almost 6 years that I've been carnivore and even keto for the 28 before that, you would have thought that I was fat adapted. But when I first switched to carnivore in 19, I absolutely had code brown, as you would say. But as I slowly, tapered it up, I took ox bile just to help for a little while. But now, I mean, I ate a whole pound of ribeye fat today and 6 ounces of 80/20 hamburger, and I
Yeah.
haven't been in the bathroom, I promise.
Well, that's you. I believe that. You are not most people. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not telling people not to do it. I'm just telling them they may not have as pleasant an experience doing that as you. That's all. If you got to go to work, family, don't do. If you got to get to your job, do this on a Friday. If you work 9 to 5, do this on a Friday night after work, family, just in case if you got to get to work Monday, you have a chance to make it, because I'm just telling you how this could possibly go for you.
It could, but I do this even during deer season.
I don't
And
lie
I'm
to
just
you. I
down
know
there
the
in a
truth.
little blind and I don't have a bathroom. So, but yes, you do have to be careful and everybody's system is different. But I do think that everybody can work their way up to where they get to that point. And most people, and I mean, you guys are dudes, but most women do need a higher fat ratio than men because we make the extra, more of the hormones, like the estrogen and stuff like that most of the time. I guess we got a few men out there that are, I won't get on that soapbox
Yeah,
anyway.
you have a
Right.
few men out
Yeah.
there.
Which I heard on Dr. Kiltz today.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the tincture guys out there. Yeah.
Well, they're more than tinctures.
Jiffy says, my last checkup, my doctor asked if I'd be willing to take a statin. Of course, I said no. She is sweet, knows me well. Yeah, some doctors are
That's
cool
good.
about it. And then also there are doctors, I think Laura will back me on this, that it's the standard of care. If you come in with a certain symptoms or you have cholesterol at certain levels, it's the policy, the standard of care. They have to offer you the statin, or they could face potentially lawsuits or consequences, adverse consequences of their job. So they're just going to, hey, I've even seen doctors talk about, they'll offer something to their patients, but shake their head no, like, hey, would you like to take this statin perhaps for this? So
That's right.
they get the signal that, so do what you got to do.
Well, for me, I think it was, I actually go to a clinic because I'm like collecting Medicaid right now because of my, my past foot injuries and stuff like that. And it seems like there's always a different doctor every single time. So it's almost like they're like in a competition to like which one can get him to take the statin. And every single time I say no. But I even had one doctor, the last doctor, not the one just now, but the last one, actually was like, oh yeah, just take this one pill. And just didn't tell me it was a statin. Just said, oh, I'm going to prescribe this one pill for you. So I did the pill. I didn't take it, but I ordered it.
Are they allowed to do that?
What was that?
Yeah,
I interjected. Are they allowed to do that? Are they allowed to give you a prescription? Not tell
I
you
don't
what
think they are personally, but I think he was
pharmacist.
He was a student, so.
Yeah, the pharmacist is the one that is held up to the higher standard. And like when you go to pick up your medicine, they're supposed to kind of go over it with you. The doctors all took an oath to do no harm. And so part of that was supposed to be like doing this and doing that and explaining stuff. But they've done harm for the last 40 years. So I don't think they're listening to that oath anymore, unfortunately.
Exactly. I mean, luckily I looked up at Google, looked at the name, and sure enough, it was a statin. I forget what the name of the pill was, but sure enough, it was
probably
a statin.
fenofibrate.
No, it didn't start with an F. It was something else.
Okay.
Crestor or
it might have been something like that. Yeah. But
that's
I mean, I just took the pills and I just like dumped them.
Dump them in the trash. Yeah.
Basically.
Smart.
I'm like, nice try.
Yeah. And they do. And it really is the standard of care. Unfortunately, if you can find a clinic or a doctor that's like out on their own and they're not under one of those big medical systems, that they can kind of do their own thing because they're not held to that standard of care. But when you're working or if you're going to see a doctor and they're in corporate medical, it is always going to be they hit these points. And at the end of the day, when I worked in a clinic, every month they would come and they never asked, how were your patient outcomes? Did your patients get better? Have you done anything good? It was, do you guys think you could see 10 more? 10 more patients. That's
Right.
all they cared about. It would
Yeah.
never one time in 22 years have I ever had somebody in upper management ask one time, except I should take that back. One lady, the CEO asked because it was her mother that was sick. Otherwise, she wouldn't have cared that it was
And
her
I
own
would
mother.
think it would be even worse with residents, like with the
Oh,
teeth,
definitely.
and that's basically
Mhm.
that's basically, it's a training hospital. It's like a clinic, and that's all the
Mhm.
residents, so
Yep.
even worse so. Yeah.
Yes, it is. That is true.
Jiffy
The
says,
baby
you're doing great,
doctors.
Russell. Keep up the good work, my friend. Thank you, beloved. Though I don't know what she's talking about. And
Just
yes,
your
iguana soup.
You were saying about the duck stew, so I'm like, yeah, don't forget the iguana soup.
Yeah, yeah. There
That's
you go.
right.
Terry says, I'm a L. Oh, I think that's lean
Yep.
mass hyper
Lean
responder.
mass.
A
Yep.
lean mass. There you go. See,
Yay! I'm
hey,
glad your LDL is that high. He will
my
absolutely have
cardiologist is
excellent
horrified.
immune
I love
system.
that. That's funny. That's comedy, ladies
Good
and
for him.
gentlemen.
Good for him. That's
Oh,
great.
geez, so
I'd like to
something
get my
about-
LDL
yeah,
to that high. That'd
yeah,
be wonderful.
night fasting program. Yes, I'm all about the night fasting. I'm not about that. Oh, I guess she's talking about you and me. Thank you, beloved. We are reunited and it feels
Right.
so good. Peaches and Herb. This is the Peaches and Herb show, everybody. Appreciate you being here, Carrington. Karen Harrington. You are the best. Were you saying something? Did I interrupt you, Laura?
Who, me? No.
Yep.
Oh, no, I thought Laura was saying something. I
No.
interrupted her.
Who knows? I talk all the time.
Yes,
Thing.
says, I can eat a lot of fat. Rick can eat a lot of fat and meat. I have witnessed the greatness. Speaking of the greatness, haven't seen my man Charlie for a while. Darth, don't know where he's at, but he's probably somewhere eating 10 pounds of meat. Hey, what's going on, William? Good to see you, brother. Good to see
And
you.
actually, you were talking about Brett earlier from Who's Your Carnivore.
Yeah.
He ordered some, maybe it was the tallow shampoo bars or something just today. And, but him and Charlie actually were at the meetup in Chicago. So Dr. Hampton and everybody. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think that was just this last weekend.
Oh, good. Yeah, I haven't. I need to catch up with him. That's my man. Haven't seen him around a little bit there, so it could be me too, because I'm sometimes oblivious. Fat is absolutely fabulous once fat adapted, my friends. I eat as much as I can, but I can't. Oh, listen, I'm not in any way, shape, or form trying to contradict what you say. Listen.
I know. I'm just teasing
I only
you.
look stupid. I only look dumb. I'm not nearly as dumb as I look, but I'm just telling you this. There can be adverse consequences, folks. That's all I'm doing. Think of me as the Surgeon General warning label on Laura's pack of fat.
That's right.
That's all I'm saying. Yes, Marilda, and I think Marilda might be co-signing that with me. You don't have to tell us how you know, Marilda. Jimmy says, that's right. Eat that fat on a Friday night. Yeah, that's right. That's it.
Well, and I tell people that too, like when I'm working with clients and they've never fasted, and I'm like, okay, before you do a 3-day fast, do not do this on a Monday, because that is the natural clean out of the body when you do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially the first few times you fast. I'm like, if you're off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you want to just hang out at home and just have some sweatpants on so that you can just go when you got to go.
Yes, and if you feel the need to pass gas, it's not gas.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
don't do it.
Yeah, don't trust
because
that.
most carnivores, and I don't know, I think ketogenically, you probably have gas if you're still eating vegetables, but with carnivores, I don't think you have a whole lot of the gas trouble unless you're going back and forth and stuff.
Yeah, if you haven't pooped on yourself, you ain't doing keto right. I'm just telling you right now.
That's
If
right.
you ain't doing keto. You're not doing carnivore right if you haven't had that experience. It happened to me actually twice, and fortunately both times I was in the bathroom. So I learned that lesson kind of early in my ketogenic experience. and as typical in my life, I didn't learn it the first time. Okay, it's like, there's no education in the second kick of a mule, people. And I'm just trying to tell you.
Okay.
But, yeah. So there we go. This concludes our feces portion of the program. So back to you, a question there with you, Tom. I was going to ask you before about the omeprazole.
Okay.
How many? You said you're down to once a week. How many times a week were you taking? Were you taking it every day?
I was taking it every day. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think it was like 40 milligrams every day. So
yeah.
That's
and
a
then
high dose.
you're down to once a week, and I'm assuming that you're trying to get off of it.
Yeah. I mean, I got off most of my medications. I was on gabapentin. I was on
good for you.
Just different things, and with the pain I used to have with my back and everything like that, I was on many pain meds, and I'm just I don't even take Advil anymore. I think the only time if I do take Advil, it might be like once every few months, like when pain is like really intense. But I just push through it, and thanks to the keto carnivore diet, I'm able to.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yes, I love that. Speaking of getting off medications, we have another special guest in the building. It's our brother. Yes. I was just about to address this. We had this question from our man William McCartney. He said, "Why you're not on the panel, Rick Charger Mopar?" Well, it's not his assigned week, but he is our brother. He is family. He doesn't need an invitation or an assigned week. He can be here whenever he wants to, but it is it's not his week of rotation. But we are glad he's here. Brother, what is new and interesting? And this could take a while, family.
Well, nothing new and interesting. I've just been working, doing the boring stuff. I did head over to the canal to distribute some duck food, but no ducks were on the menu this time.
Yes. Is a win now? This is this will be our Wild Kingdom segment of the show, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you not familiar with the Keto Cookout, we have the low budget Marlon Perkins in the building here with us. Yeah, this is Marlon. You know Marlon Perkins. This is his cousin Fred. We have Fred. Okay, now tell us: is the wintertime a good time to be finding these waterfowl and reptiles that we take to the killing fields?
Well, we really don't have any kind of real winter in South Florida. I mean, it's a little
you know
cooler.
what I mean, like a cooler weather. Yeah,
but they're out there, and the thing is that you can find ducks year round. Now, if it gets really cool, which is very rare, then you have a unique opportunity for the iguanas because they just basically drop into the ground and you can pick them up and you can cook them up, no problem.
That's kind of where I was leading. I was kind of putting it up on a tee for you there because I don't know a lot about reptilians, but I do know they slow down a lot in the cooler weathers. They can't move as fast. It's like they move in slow motion or they stop moving at all. And so you've talked in the past about how they're quick and hard to catch and hard to hit with your crossbows and things. I'm guessing the degree of difficulty gets lowered tremendously this time of year.
If it gets cold enough and they're out in the sun, you can use a catch pole. It's a big pipe with a rope running through it and a noose on the end of it, and you put it over the back of the iguana and you grab them by the neck, and that's it. You can reel them in. Just grab it and put it in a bag, and then you can take it home and do whatever you want. You can keep them fresh. You don't have to kill them on the spot, and then you got to cut them up, put them in the refrigerator. You can take them home live and put them into the iguana pen, and you just keep them happy for a while, just like you do with the ducks. And iguanas
do you have heat lamps and things of that nature, or do you have a
Yeah,
sunny area of the yard where you keep them at so they can be live and
I actually do, but the spot that they're in, there's a lot of sun during the day, but I do have a heater so they can kind of go there. And yeah, it's not too often, but the rare years when we had cold weather, it's probably been 10 years since we had any real cold weather. And I did have quite a few of them. I think at one time I must have had 12 or 13 or 14 iguanas there. And then it's just like, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. You can just grab them and they're good to go. I mean, you take them out of there, just got to watch those claws. Iguanas do have some pretty sharp claws. So you don't want to try to, it's a trick. Let's put it this way. You can shoot them on the spot, but the best thing to do is if you get them like at night when they're kind of dormant, you can stick them in a bag. And then once you got them in a bag, then you can just get them with the knife, where the head is. And then that way, at least, it'll be easier. But because them things, they're fast and they have teeth too. You don't want to get bitten by them because it can be a problem.
I don't want to get bitten by anything, Rick. Just I thought I'd throw that out there.
Well, being bitten by a duck is no big deal. I mean, I stick my finger in the duck's mouth all the time.
Okay.
So, Rick, when you feed the duck, do you feed it quackers?
Well, I do sometimes.
There you go. That was a joke, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I love that. Hey, next time, try a funny one there, Tom. So, we welcome them all. Trust me, we love all the jokes, funny or not. I love that. But yeah, that's interesting. I know that you are a stickler on keeping your wildlife comfortable and happy before they meet their sudden and untimely death.
Yes.
So that's kind of what I was thinking to myself. How do you keep an iguana happy? You've explained the concept with the ducks, the mating and the food and then such. But iguanas, I'm guessing, are not quite the same as ducks in terms of how you keep them happy.
Well, they're similar because they both like water. You can find them both at the canal. So I just the same area that I use for ducks is also the iguana area, but I don't eat them at the same time. So if I'm catching iguanas, the ducks are safe. But then, when it's duck season for me, there's not going to be any iguanas in there. Any iguanas are either going to be shot at the canal and brought home. But, when you get the iguana drops going on, people will actually pay you to remove them. They just want them out of there because they don't want the things to wake up. And I go home with a truckload of iguanas. What am I going to do with them? I'm not going to kill them all and cook them up. So I put them in the pen, and it's got chain link fence around it. But the problem is iguanas can sometimes sneak through it. So I have to get the mesh. I put the chicken wire all around. That takes a little bit of time because they will climb up and they will get out. I mean, iguanas can go anywhere. But, I put them in there. Usually, if I know it's going to get cold, I got the chicken wire already installed. And then when I bring the iguanas home, I just put them in there, fill it up with water, and give them lettuce and fruits and whatever else I can get. And they're happy.
Yes, I have a question. It's a burning question. Folks are dying to know the answer to this. Do ducks and iguanas live together in harmony, peacefully? Or is there at some times, conflict and confusion between the ducks and the iguanas?
I've never seen the iguanas and ducks fight. I mean, ducks basically eat insects. They eat some plant material. Iguanas eat mostly plant material, flowers, leaves, berries, stuff like that. So they don't really compete. Although I think I have seen, let me think. I think one time the mama duck was after the iguana because they got too close to the ducklings. But iguanas don't eat ducklings, so they don't really bother each other, at least from what I've seen.
Well, I'm guessing the duck doesn't know that. But however, I'm thinking that iguana could just put that tail in action and ruin that duck's day.
They could. But the thing is that iguanas are generally not aggressive, except when they're mating. Sometimes they'll fight with each other, but that's pretty rare because there's so much space here, and there's usually more females than males when it comes to iguanas. So they typically, the males don't usually share the same territory. Now, I've seen them together on the canal sunning when they're not mating it, but they don't seem to really fight that much. The only time I've seen them fight is up in the tree. One time they were fighting, and another time over in Coral Gables by the hospital, there was a real good iguana fight going on. It looked like a gator fight. I mean, they were going at it like crazy. The ducks are the ones that fight the most. I mean, the ducks, they'll fight every day if they get the chance. They're definitely more aggressive.
They're definitely aggressive when they're mating. I can tell you that. I will never, if I live to be 114, I'll never be right after witnessing that video on the internet. That's I have you to thank for that. My therapy
I warned
bill
you
has
about
been
it.
thousands. Yes, whew, that was terrible. Jenny, good to see you, beloved. Hi, Rosa, Laura, and Thomas. I'm not used to your new time yet, so we need to watch on the replay. Yes, 8:30 is the new and permanent time. We did have 1 week at 8 o'clock. Our old time was 9. We moved it up because Laura, has to be in bed at a certain
I'm
time.
old.
Yes.
I'm old.
Yes.
I need my beauty sleep.
Yes.
the oldest
And
one
Paul
here.
has,
Weirdo.
Paul has the hot beef broth ready for her at a certain time, and so her beef broth was getting cold, and so we had to move it. Of course, Rick doesn't sleep, so it doesn't matter to him.
Yeah.
But no,
Like we do it at midnight.
Yes, we moved it up to 8:30, and it will stay there, and that is our time forevermore. And yes, you can certainly watch it on the replay, but we're glad you're here. Our man William says, I saw a raccoon and an iguana fight on the tube. Yeah, now listen, I can tell you right now, a raccoon will fight anything, including you.
Yep.
So
The raccoon was probably trying to eat it.
You think the raccoon was trying to eat the iguana?
Yeah, probably trying to eat the iguana.
Yep.
Yeah, didn't know that. See, you learned
They'll eat anything. They'll eat
I
cats.
had to take 2 raccoons out of here.
You think we nasty creatures?
Yes, you still have a blood debt that needs to be repaid to some raccoons.
Don't worry.
somewhere.
I go out every night with my crossbow. I got my eyes open for them.
Yeah. He has a score to settle, all you raccoons out there, and he is not going to rest until somebody's got to pay for the atrocities that were that were done in his property by the raccoon population. Somebody's got to pay.
And they'll annihilate. They'll like if you have chickens, like my daughter, the first year she had chickens, they came in, and the funny thing was, not really funny, but they killed them all, and they ate nothing. They just killed them. And I was like, well, that's odd. You would think that if they were going to kill them, that they would
at least have
that
some
they would
for
eat
dinner.
them, but they're
that's the way they are.
I just
wonder if they ate did they eat the eggs?
Yeah, they did eat the eggs. Yeah. But the other thing is, like, where I'm at, there's cornfields everywhere. And one of the ways to know when the corn's ready, like say you have a sweet corn patch, is as soon as you see the first few ears taken down, they'll take a bite out of it. And if it's too starchy and it's not quite to that, perfect spot, they'll leave it. So then okay, now you need to put your hot wire around your crops or whatever you have going on, a garden or whatever, because they'll just clean it out. They're worse than a goat. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I did not know that raccoons ate iguanas.
Oh yeah, they'll eat anything. That's why they call them trash pandas.
Well, but iguanas aren't in the trash. I mean, I didn't know that they would I mean, I understand a chicken. Pretty much everything will kill a chicken. I mean, chicken is right. That's just
Easy
above
prey.
a bug on the food chain. But yeah, I didn't. I never knew that. But that's interesting. That's interesting. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes our Wild Kingdom segment of the Keto Cookout tonight. We want to thank Fred Perkins for hanging out with us, man, and explaining all that. Yes, and we are at the point here now where we have fulfilled our contractual obligations to the family. As always, we want to thank you for hanging out with us on a Tuesday night. You can be doing a lot of things, but you're here hanging out with us. We appreciate you, and we will be back here next week on the Keto Cookout Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with more hijinks, tomfoolery, and ridiculousness. And Rick will be here the entire time next week. You can count on that. So, as always, I want to thank you guys so much, and keep your proteins and fats high and your carbs low. We will see you.
So you're fat.
Yeah, I said proteins and fats high and your carbs low. Yeah.
Especially
Yeah,
your
you listen to Laura if you want to. Remember, nuclear explosions. That's all I got to say. That's the key word of the day. 2 words: nuclear explosion. Thank you and good night.
Right.
Good night.